Welcome back. Yes, we were discussing something as regards single entity and incomplete record, and I want to go to solving some problems. Let's look at the whiteboard. Like I said, if you are given a question on incomplete record, you will not be given any information as regards how to determine your sales, your purchases, which we have discussed in the first video. Now let's now take the computational aspect of it. Like I said, I gave you 3 steps on how to go by what? By determining your profits where you are not given any information as regards sales and purchases. The step 1 is to do what? Is to use the opening asset and the opening liability to determine your opening capital. The second step is to use the what? The information given as regards the closing asset and the closing liability to determine your what? Your closing capital. Then you now use the what? The opening capital and the closing capital drawings made during the year by the owner of the business inclusive to determine your what? Your profits for the year. Now let's look at this question on the whiteboard. The question said the following is the statement of affairs of Ujo Enterprise at 1st January 1996. This is all the information we have here on this statement of affairs are related to what? Beginning of the year, like the plant and machineries at the beginning of the year, the stock at the beginning of the year, the debtors at the beginning of the year, bills receivable and cash all at the beginning of the year. Then the liabilities, creditors, bills payable are what? Liabilities at the beginning of the year. Then if you now take this, all the total asset of this asset, which gives us 5,006, away from 2,600, we have our capital to be 3,000. Here, the opening capital has been given. Let's not go ahead. What are we requested to do? On 31st December 1996, the following were the ledger's balances: creditors, bills payable, plant and equipment, stock, debtors, bills payable, cash. The drawings made during the period by the owner of the business amount to what? 800. We are now asked to do what? To prepare a statement of affairs that will disclose the closing capital. And this was the closing capital in relation with the what? With the opening capital to determine our profit. Are you clear with me? Yes. Now let us go ahead. What we need to do is that they have already been what? Established the capital at the beginning of the year. So the first step is what? Is covered. So we don't need to start with the first step. All we need to do now is to go to the what? To go by the determination of our what? Closing capital as the second step. Then we'll now move to the what? Third step. Now, closing statements or statement of affairs at the end of the year. Statements. Remember, statement of affairs. The essence for doing this statement of affairs at the end of the year is to determine our closing capital. Statement of affairs at the end of the year. At the end of the year. Statement of affairs at the end of the year. Now, if you look at this thing very critically, you discover that the plant and machinery, this one is what has been settled because they have used the opening capital, they have used the opening statement of affairs to generate, they are giving us what? Opening capital. Now we use this information to determine our closing capital, and whatever we now have as our closing capital in relation to our opening capital and drawings to determine our profit for the year. From 31st December 1990, the following were what? The ledger balances. Creditors. Now you can now say creditors. You can say creditors here. Or let me say current liabilities. Current liabilities. Creditors. Our creditors figure here is 1,005. Creditors. 1,500. Bills payable. Bills payable 800. Bills payable 800. Which means the bills payable has been increased with 200 naira, because initially it was what? It was 600 naira. Are you with me? Then plant and machinery 2,500 naira. The plant and machinery has been depreciated because it was 3,000 naira at the beginning of the year. But at the end of the year, it was what? 2,500 naira. Fixed asset. Fixed assets. Plant and machinery. $2,500 naira. The stock 500 naira. The stock at the beginning of the year was what? 1,000 naira. It means they have sold some goods. Now stock, current assets, stock 500 naira. Debtors 1,000 naira. Our debtors figure was initially 500, which means there has been an increase in what? In debtors figure at the end of the year. Debtors 1,000 naira. What else do we have there? We have bills receivable to be 700. And our bills receivable here was 1,000 before. Bills receivable 700 naira. Then we have our cash to be 10 naira. Cash to be 10 naira, which means the cash we have at hand as at the end of the year was what? 10 naira. But as at the beginning of the year, it was 100 naira. Now the man told us that the person makes a drawing during the period amounted to what? 800 naira. Now since we want to use one to determine our closing capital, let us take the total of our assets. The fixed asset is 2,005 and the total was the total asset 3,000, 4,000, 4,710 naira. 4,710 naira. 4,710 naira. Now, then the total liabilities 2,300. Then 4,710 minus 2,330 0, 1, 4, 2. At the end of the day, we have our closing capital. Closing capital to be what? 2,410 naira. How do we arrive at that? We arrive at that by taking the total figure of our asset, which is what? 4,710 away from our total current liabilities of 2,300, and we arrive at what? A closing capital to be 2,410 naira. We have been able to answer what? The first question that said we need to show the what? We need to maintain the statement of affairs to show the closing capital and what? And net profit. Now, how do we go by determining our what? Net profit. Net profit. To determine our net profit and determination. Now, step 3. Determination of net profits. This is simple. Now this one is done like this. You started with the closing capital. And the closing capital. What is the figure of the closing capital? 2,410 naira. You add profit. You have what? You add drawings. Add drawings because as part of the money the person took away from his business. And our drawings here amount to what? To 800 naira. Add drawings. Then if you add drawings with our what? With our closing capital, it gives you 1, 2, 3,210 naira. Then less the opening capital. And our opening capital here was 3,000 naira. 3,000 naira. If you remove 3,000 from 3,210, you have 210 at the end of the day as your what? As your net profit. All I'm saying in essence is this: from the questions, already we've been given the capital at the beginning of the year as our opening capital. Now, if they now give us additional information, something that happens at the end of the year, that is information related to the end of the 1996. to use that information to determine our closing capital. And we have done that. Then our closing capital happened to be 2,410 naira. Then we still now ask us to use these two information to determine our net profit. Closing capital, add drawings, then you remove your opening capital, you determine your net profit. It's as simple as that. All you need to do, remember I said anytime they give you a question on incomplete record, all you need to do is that if you follow these steps, you find your way out. Step 1, use the information as regards the opening assets and the opening liabilities to determine your opening capital. That is the asset, fixed asset, current asset at the beginning of the year, and the liabilities at the beginning of the year, either long or current liabilities, to determine your opening capital. Then the information given at the end of the year, that is the closing information, which we use, that is the closing asset. It's possible that the asset must have been depreciated and other things been inclusive. That's what we have. That's like what we have here. You now use that any information we are given at the end of the year to determine your as regard the assets and liability to determine your closing capital. Anytime you now know your opening capital and your closing capital, it is expected that the closing capital should be higher than the opening capital, because we see that you have done business. What you started with, you are making some sales, you have done some expenses, you have received money. At the end of the day, what you should have as your closing capital at the end of the year should be greater than what you have as capital at the beginning of the year. If what you have as at the beginning of the year is higher than what you had as at the end of the year, it means you are making loss. By this, I believe you understand what this thing means. As any question in relation to incomplete record cannot be as much as this. Are you with me? So what I will do in the next video, which is to talk about to give you more questions, so as to put more light to it. But if you practice this, and you think probably if you practice very well, you have an idea. At least you are probably 60% covered as regard question in relation to incomplete record. In my next class, I will give you more questions that will throw more light to you understanding questions in relation to incomplete record. Thank you.